It's 6 p.m. on March 5th, 2025, and I call to order this meeting of the Apache Junction Parks and Recreation Commission. So please join me with the Pledge of Allegiance. All right, may I have roll call, please?
Okay, D.L. Kine. Here. Cheryl Bigelow.
Here.
Felicia Madrid.
Here.
Judy Bory.
Here.
Frank Shanebeck.
Here.
And Heather Moeller.
Here. All right. The commission may at this time take single action on any or all items listed as consent agenda items. These include acceptance of the agenda and the acceptance of minutes. Any member of the commission may remove any item from the consent agenda for discussion and cause a separate vote on the matter later in the agenda. I call for a motion on the approval acceptance of the agenda meeting minutes.
I move that the Parks and Rec Commission accept the agenda as presented and approve the minutes from the February 5th, 2025 regular meeting.
May I have a second?
Second.
Can you repeat that, please? Who seconded?
Frank is first.
Thank you.
And may I have roll call, please?
Frank Shanebeck.
Yes.
D.L. Kine. Cheryl Bigelow.
Yes.
Felicia Madrid.
Yes.
Judy Bory.
Yes.
Heather Moeller.
Yes.
And that motion passes.
All right, right now is our time to share if any of the commissioners participated or visited or volunteered at any of the activities with Parks and Recreation since last we met. Now it's time to share.
I attended some of the movies in the park and also the concerts, so they were really great, even though sometimes the weather was a little iffy, but it was great.
All right, you go, Judy.
I feel like I broke a record, but I did paint. What is it called? Paint and pour, paint pints, paint something, paint and drinks.
You can't remember, you had a good time.
Doodle. Cat wagon, which was always fun.
Doodle and drinks.
Doodles and drinks. We're gonna come up. I'm paint and pour, paint and pipe. Paint and pipe.
Paint and
I'm
pipe.
writing it down. You'd think that I'd sign up monthly for it, that I'd remember the name. And then I will be doing that tomorrow. So make sure if you want to do it together as a commission, we schedule it out like a month in advance. If anyone wants to paint with me.
Yes, I also participated in Paint and Pints. Thank you for workshopping it before it got to me. And let's see, what else? I feel like I did some other things, but it's always lost on me in the moment. Well, my daughter started Girls on the Run, and she was so looking forward to it. So that's been great. And we actually got to, it was just a quick visit, but I wanted to see the mountain unobstructed. So I took my little one up to the deck, and we went and looked at the mountain last night before we picked up Joe. And we played at the park, which has a new place, little play structure outside of the library / MGC. I don't know whose park that is, though, technically. It is ours. Okay, got it. Okay. I wasn't sure if that was for sure ours. But, yeah. It has a cool name. The City Complex Park, yes. But, no, we had a lot of fun playing on the new equipment, and, yeah. So,
Nice.
I'm sorry, Jamie calls it the MGC Park.
I always,
She's reading my face.
I always thought it should be Fort Apache.
Fort Apache.
well, if it ever gets renamed, we'll call it the Jamie Sullivan Park.
I, like many, participated at the Lost Session Marathon. Volunteered. That was fun. Anybody run it?
Not this year.
Oh.
Did you, Liz?
I was like, I don't think she can.
Running it.
Sorry, I didn't mean to put you on blast.
I think you should share what your main volunteer role was.
Mine was the sag wagon, and that is the person that you don't want to see when you are running the full marathon, because I'm there with my little watch like, ooh, you're going to have to get to this cone by this time, or I'm going to need you to give you a ride. And some people are like, cool, I need a ride. And other people are like, no, I'm not getting in there. And I'm like, well, then you need to hustle. Let's do this.
So you get out and run with them, right?
Oh, no, but I didn't. But was it Christy? Christy is her name? And then last year, Sarah Stone did it. But the last guy to pass the finish line was wearing sandals the whole 26.2 miles. Crazy.
What kind of sandals?
These flat, little strappy sandals.
Barefoot shoes.
Is that what they are?
think so.
Amazing, amazing. When he was all by himself, you could hear him. It's like he's clapping for himself. I'm like, that's right. You got this. And I was clapping for him too.
Hopefully he doesn't watch this.
I got to play at the marathon too. I was watching to keep traffic off of Goldfield best we could. It's always nice to do that every year because I get to see how nice the high school students are and get to be reinvigorated with the new generation coming on and seeing there are good students and good people.
They were definitely high-spirited.
Oh yeah, well some of the cheerleaders come, so they cheered for
Yep.
like 4 hours, and it was fun. It's always fun.
Yeah, so Frank is in charge of the flaggers that are all along Goldfield, and it's student council from the school district, and he kind of corrals everybody, makes sure everybody has what they need, and kind of gives extra direction, tells us what we need to improve on for the future, so does a great job. Thank you both for those. Those are two major roles in the race. So thank you.
And I love the marathon shirt, Frank.
Thank you. Thank you.
He's like, yes.
They look at the marathon shirt and then they turn around and they say, oh yeah, okay, now I understand. It's like race crew, okay. Not participant, but crew.
I think you could have done a full marathon.
In several days probably, yeah. Give me a week maybe.
See, we have such a great board. Like, this crew covers everything, multi-gen and Parks and Rec, and I stick to the senior center. And I did have two friends that have recently retired, and they've been upstairs using the gym, and one's been coming to bingo on Monday.
So we need to do an activity swap. I'll go to
No,
the senior
no,
center.
She's like, no.
You can go.
No, I'm sticking to my senior center, and I am certified for Monday afternoon bingos. You know, I run the money, and I'm not willing to give that up.
About that 20% cut, we know.
No, what comes in goes out, Frank.
Keep us moving, Heather.
Okay, all right. I was like, all right. So I'm going
kidding.
to ask Superintendent Dave Butler for the staff report.
Good evening, everyone. So Parks updates tonight are big. We have, is this me? That's not me. This is me. The biggest one, so in addition to, the prep for the marathon and rodeo, I just wanted to kind of highlight that over the 2 days of the rodeo event, we had 120 man-hours in the field with just the parks guys. That doesn't include everything that rec does, everything that admin, the whole department does, but 120 hours of guys out there prepping arenas, dust control, maintaining the facility, restrooms, all of that stuff in just 2 days. So it's a massive, if you didn't already know how big the event was, it's huge, and it's a huge undertaking for us and everybody. So that was one of the biggest things this month. A couple of the other things, and you'll see in some of these photos here, we were able to install a new play structure at the MGC Park.
The Jamie Sullivan Park.
The Jamie Sullivan Memorial Park.
Memorial.
So brand new play structure out there. We're real excited about that. Added that in. We are finally at a point where we are done with the Superstition Shadows drainage project. We just finished concrete today. So a lot of these pictures in here are just from the sheer size and scope of that project. It ran a lot longer than we thought. We ran into some elevation, some grading issues, a lot of things along the way. But all of the concrete, all the drainage work is done. We are officially opening the sidewalks back up probably tomorrow, depending on how they cure over the next couple days. And then next week, we'll come in and touch up landscaping and a few just final punch list items. But all of the drainage work, all the sidewalks are done.
Dave, going back to the play structure, is there any possibility we're gonna get a shade for that?
Over that, the small structure itself, probably not. Not because we don't want to, but just because when you do play structures, there are certain space requirements to make them compliant for playground safety, and we just don't have room to add additional shade. There is shade over the large structure that's
Right.
there.
That was a grant I think we got, or somebody donated that.
Some, 7, 8 years ago now.
Apache Greyhound Park donated that shade structure.
So unfortunately, we just don't have the room to fit it into that one. Where are we at? We did also start on the demolition of the showers at the MGC, so that's what some of these photos here are. We're down to bare wall right now. We'll start saw cutting concrete later this week and start pouring back concrete the following week. Again, that project's going to take all the way through most of May. We have it scheduled right now to end the end of May, but it's construction. It might sneak into the first part of June. The annuals at the focal point. So as you can see from these pictures, they look great from a distance, but it's that time of year where it's April 5th is actually our event where we're going to have members of the public come and pull them out, take them home with them. And then the following week, we'll replace them with our summer annuals. So I know we just got through the marathon and rodeo, and it seems like it's still supposed to be cold, but it is a time that we are getting ready to switch our flowers to our summer annual stuff. So April 5th is the date for you guys to come and grab some flowers, take them home, put them in a pot, and then see if they can make it all the way till next year. I know Liz has saved them over the years, and she's done really well with them, so.
Hard work.
Yeah, a lot of hard work to keep them that long. And then the last thing that I had is that we are starting with the lighting area poles replacement at SSP. We're hopeful. We've ordered material. They have everything on lead for delivery right now. Lead times are extended on some of the heads, but we're hoping that by the middle of the month that they should start removing poles and then start replacing them as they take them down. So hopefully by the middle of March. And then it just depends on how long it takes for the last heads that have to come in before we wrap that one up. So that is all of the updates I have for you, unless you have any questions for me.
Before you ask questions, Dave, can you just share again the SSP lights, like what those entail? Because it gets confusing because we just did all the sports field lights to the Musco dark sky friendly. Dave can kind of share where the rest of the lights are.
Yeah, if you see on these, I'm going to go back and pause it. You broke it. We broke it. It's essentially all of the area lighting, and not all of the area lighting. It's 24 or 26 poles. Keep going.
There's one, right?
There was a good picture, I think.
There you go. So these poles that you see along the walkway, that's what we call area lighting. So anything that is along the walkway, it's 24 or 26 total lights that are being replaced. Some are rusted out, some are just end of life cycle. So it's along the walkways, the playground, all of those areas. We're doing 24 or 26 of them.
Thanks.
Is this picture we're looking at facing the tennis courts?
Yeah, so this looks
Okay.
east to west, looking at the tennis courts.
Okay.
So if you'll remember, this was that giant dip that used to have rails. So that is where this is now.
Well, it's just gonna have a culvert under it?
Yeah, so if you see on the side of this right here, this is the culvert here
Oh, okay.
that now goes under the sidewalk instead of over.
Yeah, 'cause that's where we set up the graveyard.
So the graveyard is
Just the side
back.
of it, yeah.
Yep, the graveyard's back here a little bit.
That'll make it a little, okay.
And then just remember, this is all part of our Land Water Conservation Fund grant to make ADA accessible, to make this park more, ADA accessible now. And so it was not with those big dips. This is going to be a major improvement for events like 4th of July, Halloween Carnival, so that people can get all the way around the park with strollers as well as wheelchairs and other assisted devices.
And
My kids love that dip, but that's okay. They'll survive.
And if you'll remember the south side, so this is the photo of the south side where there was a huge dip that was always underwater,
The mud.
the
It
mud
was
and all of
always-
that. So this is how it looks as of this morning.
Great.
So it's a drastic improvement over there.
Yeah, that looks, and that had rails on it too, right?
It did. It won't. They
Yeah.
will not be required
Well,
anymore.
they were all rusted.
They were all
and
rusted
stuff
out and
too,
falling
yeah,
apart,
I
so.
remember, but-
No other questions? Well, thank you, Dave. We appreciate that. All right, so then we're going to move on to the presentation, discussion, and update on upcoming events and activities by Jamie.
Good evening, Parks and Rec Commission. Riley's going to graciously get my slideshow going, or Dave will, my assistant Dave, thank you. So for a month that only had 20 days in it, it sure felt like there was like 45 to 60 days in the month of February. We've been very busy with programs and events. Huh?
That's a great
We're
list.
sorry, but there are more than 20 days in the month of February.
28 days in February?
We heard 20.
No, 28. I even have it written down. I have proof. 28 days.
I just figured it was business days.
There are no business days in recreation. They're all business days. All 7 days are business days. But yes, we had 28 days in February, and we had 28 different programs offered by Parks and Recreation. That doesn't include all of the partnered events that we did. So with that, some of the highlights of those programs, as I mentioned, we are offering pickleball lessons indoors and outdoors, and they've become very popular. Our Read and Rec was hosted this month. It was flippin' flapjacks. So, and each month they're just getting more and more popular. In March, they'll be out at Silly Mountain. We did host the wellness event the same weekend as the marathon. They pair together really nice. We had about 30 vendors, which is about what we can have when we mix it with the packet pickup. So everything went really great. We had Circle out there giving away free water bottles and samples, and that seemed to be a really big hit. And then, of course, we assisted with both the Lost Dutchman Marathon and Lost Dutchman Days. In February, we hosted our first fishing education program that was hosted on a Friday evening and then again on Saturday. We saw about 60 different anglers out there and was able to educate them on our park rules and what kind of hooks you should be having and what kind of bait you can fish with. We will continue that into March and again in April. So just to give a little bit of feedback on the marathon, just a reminder that the marathon is ran by a nonprofit organization that have nearly given out almost $1 million back to our local youth serving agencies. So it's really important that when folks might mention traffic or the roads being difficult to get through, they really are involving the entire community, and we are all very much recipients of that race. I do believe I know the full marathon completely sold out. The 8K, 10K sold out also, so two of the races did completely sell out. They opened registration already for next year, and as of a couple weeks ago, they already had 400 people register for 2026. So Lost Dutchman Days Rodeo, again, not our event, hosted by a local nonprofit agency who gives out lots of their proceeds back to our local serving agencies. But I know many of you are very interested in that event. You may have attended that event, but the rodeo did sell out on both Saturday and Sunday. You may have been at the parade on Saturday, and you may have noticed the best parade float that was there was obviously the Parks and Recreation parade float. And had we entered the competition, I am sure we would have won. So there's our team right there. Most of the artwork that you see on that float was actually designed and painted by our part-time staff. They are very talented. So moving into March, we started last Saturday with the Superstition Sleepover. I don't know how many people were actually outside on Saturday afternoon, but it was very windy. And wherever you were, know that it was twice as windy out at Prospector Park. So I was quite surprised when I showed up around 3 o'clock to see almost 200 people still out there braving the wind, putting up their tents. They hunkered down, they spent the night, they participated in a lot of outdoor activities. So I just give them all kudos because I really thought we would see a lot of cancellations. But surveys told us, like one family was like, we loved this event. It was our first time camping with our 3-year-old. So again, remembering that Parks and Recreation provides a lot of families their very first memories. So also I did want to mention that in February, you'll see a couple of pictures of Julia in there. She was able to attend the Aquatics conference that is held in Florida. That conference is super important because, as you know, aquatics and the lifeguard world and renting a pool is a high-risk area. And we always want to make sure that our team are updated and trained and that we're networking with other cities, not just in our state, but around our nation to find out the best practices. So she got to go on a scholarship through our APRF Foundation, so that was really exciting for her to go. So a lot to do in March. I'm going to give you guys just a quick rundown, but we are starting spring break open gym camp at the Multi-Gen Center for our kiddos who will be out of school. So just know that they might be out of school, but they're going to be in our parks and in our facilities, so we welcome them. We started our lifeguard training, so if you happen to be driving by the pool, it is not open. We are getting ready to train our staff for the summer. So we are very excited. We had a very healthy applicant pool so far, which is not something that is the norm. For the last couple of years, you've heard me tell you that we are struggling. That is not the case this year. So I appreciate those parents and those youth who are wanting to get out there and start into the workforce, because as of right now, we're looking really good. We are still in the middle of hiring, so we'll keep you guys updated as we get closer to pool season. So coming up also this Saturday is Blues and Brews. That's at Flatiron. Again, not our event, but we do help support that event, and that will be out at Flatiron Park at 11 a.m. You can buy your tickets online, which I highly recommend you do in advance. March 22nd is Itty Bitty Olympics at 10:30 a.m. We are looking for volunteers. March 29th is a super busy day. So you can start your day at Painted Sky Park with Bubbles and Brews. That is an event hosted by Blossom Rock, but they have all kinds of fun stuff planned for the day. But leave about 3:45 so you can hit Flatiron Park for Dino Days. You can go check out some prehistoric animals that we've dug up and are bringing back to life. Hang out there for a little bit, and then you can, well, none of you are probably the right age for the senior center prom, but Cheryl might be working or volunteering.
I'm going.
But that evening, we will be hosting a prom for our seniors that participate at our Active Adult Center. And then you can go back to Flatiron Park and finish watching The Good Dinosaur because we have a movie in the park. So, and then quickly, I want to update you guys on the Ladybug Earth Day event. So we received notice just last week that Horizon Health, due to funding, is not able to support or host the event. That event, for the past 13 years, has historically been a partnered event on their grounds because they had the gardens for the ladybugs. So I really do not like to cancel. We pivot, we change. And so we are going to be doing a version of the Earth Day Ladybug Release event on April 5th at Flatiron Park from 9 to 11 a.m. We will have Earth Day education, we will have art projects, we will have some interaction stations for kids and their parents. You'll be able to go over and get some flowers from the focal point, take them home, and put your ladybugs in your flowers. So we will still have an event. It's just going to look a little bit different this year. So we've already changed the marketing and updated social media to reflect that. So if any of those Saturdays you would like to work or volunteer, please let me know and I will get you in contact with the right coordinator.
What do we see about the Itty Bitty Olympics?
Itty Bitty Olympics would be Gary.
Can I have something besides javelin catcher?
Yeah, we can make you be a hula hoop catcher. Any questions?
Okay.
No.
I saw the flyer with the ladybug thing, I just wasn't sure it was up.
I did see it
So-
on Flagstaff. I saw it on Facebook.
And Lavere, who manages the community garden, is still going to be involved with us. And he did say that people will be welcome to, if they want to drive past and still visit the garden and drop off their ladybugs, it will be open to do that. So,
But it's usually like a half a day festival and everything too, so it's
Yeah.
gonna be nothing like that, right?
no,
vendors,
it's
no
usually
nothing.
from 9 to 1, and it will be 9 to 11. But Flatiron Park will be full of activities and as much as we possibly can in 4 weeks. So, but we're looking forward to it, and it's going to be a great event.
Is there going to be water conservation, a booth?
I don't know for certain. Would have to connect with Jared. I don't know who all the vendors we have, because again, we used to not be in charge of the vendors. That was one of the roles of Horizon Health. So I'm not 100% sure. If you have a contact, feel free to send them my way.
All right. Well, thank you, Jamie. Much appreciated. It looks like we have the introduction of a new aquatics coordinator. Julia, I don't know how to pronounce your last name. Feraldi. I'm all for. And Jamie will present.
So Julia started participating in our, No. Julia started participating in our junior guard program at 12, 11.
Ooh.
11 years old, she started working with us, so like 4 years ago. No. She started working at the pool, like getting paid as soon as she could reach the counter. And after many years of working in and out of recreation and aquatic programs, she is now the recreation coordinator of Aquatics. And in her off-season, she will be helping with operations over at the Multi-Gen Center. That's also where her office is, should you be looking for her. With her knowledge of the pool and her experience in our programs, I pretty much feel like we hit the jackpot by being able to bring Julia on as our coordinator. So I'd like to bring her up, have her introduce herself. And Julia, if you can share why you love working for Parks and Rec.
Why you love it. Come on down. Woohoo!
Hi, everybody. Like Jamie said, I'm Julia. I started 13 years ago, not 4, as a junior lifeguard, and then at 15, and then just have worked my way up, then became full-time. I love working for Parks and Rec, and specifically for the city of Apache Junction. I grew up in Apache Junction. I was a Parks and Rec kid outside of being a junior guard. When the Multi-Generational Center opened, I was there climbing the rock wall, doing the programs. There was a few times I dropped into our open gym, summer camp is what we call it now. But yeah, I love our community. It's growing so much, and I want to be a part of our growth, continue to be a part of it, especially in aquatics. I have a deep love for water, and I want to continue to help grow aquatics in AJ and bring every idea and education that we can to our city and help spread water safety awareness. So yeah.
Do you guys have any questions for Julia?
Are there any type of new programs you're going to do?
So we're still going over if there's anything new that we will be doing. Something exciting that I'll sneak peek it right now is this summer is the 40th anniversary of our aquatic center being open. So we do plan to do kind of a birthday party, birthday bash this summer, and invite back any lifeguards that have worked with us in the past, and then also doing something for the public to kind of celebrate that we've had an aquatic center for 40 years. So that'll be something new that we have this summer. But as of right now, still trying to figure out what we can do, what our facility is capable of, and what our staff is, and hopefully bring some new programs to the facility.
And I would just like to add a little bit to that. Julia already has been influential in growing our lifeguard base. She's been out at the high schools doing job fairs and recruitments. And I think her love of the water naturally brings folks in. She created the Last Splash, which was held at the pool Memorial Day weekend on the last day that we're open. She's been very helpful in getting us back to being open after COVID and getting us back to 7 days and our swim lesson program on Saturdays. She helped get that going. It takes a lot to motivate kids to want to work out in 115 degrees for 4 months. And Julia has just been a rock star at that. So hopefully, part of it, she would say, if they gave me more money, I would do more programs, because she has asked. So we do, while she's just getting started, it feels like in this role, she's been very active in the last couple of years with the pool programming.
And I know I've enjoyed doing the aerobics class in June, and that was a lot of fun.
Awesome.
But July and August were all filled up. So I didn't realize I needed to sign up early.
They're opening soon, so keep an eye out.
You're like,
Is it still late evening hours for that?
Yes, 7:30 is when they begin.
Are you guys still going to be doing the swim team?
We will be still doing the swim team, yes.
Have you talked about expanding the
We have
age?
lowered the age to what matches the East Valley, which is 6 years old. So, yeah.
My little one wants to do it, so.
Yeah, that was something last year. We were nervous trying it out, but then we noticed that every other city and organization that we're competing with all has a six and older age group, and ours started at 8. So as long as we, like the 6-year-old is comfortable in the water and they pass the swim test, and that's something that we are bringing back this summer.
Great.
Yeah.
And yeah, the pool has seen so many improvements over the last couple of years, and the staff is really great. We visit usually quite a bit, and the staff has been great with my kids, and they make friends with the rec leaders and that they see year after year. So
Yeah, that's awesome.
congrats.
we're super excited that you're in the official title now. 'Cause I want to say on board, but you've been here. You know what I mean? Where I'm like, that was nice. Congratulations and welcome.
Thank you, everybody.
All right, looks like we got some old business. And it is going to be the presentation and update on Tree City, USA from Liz.
Hi, everyone. Thank you. Bear with me for a second. We were logged into our Tree City website, and now I'm kicked out again, so give me one quick second. Phew. It actually worked. So first of all, we're really excited to share that we were hoping we would get notification prior to this meeting, but both of our applications were accepted, so we were able to renew for Tree City, USA again. That was approved. It goes through the state process first, and so we knew we'd met the state requirements, but then it goes to the Arbor Day Foundation for the final approval. So this will be our second year being a Tree City, USA recipient. And then the exciting news is that we also, as a team, decided to go for the Growth Award. So it has to be your second or later year. And then, as I'd shared with you at a previous meeting, you have to get at least 10 points. We put in for 12. We only got 11, but we are learning kind of as we go. And so I just wanted to share with you just a couple of things. Many of the items are pretty small things. We have to have a donation account. We now have an account with Friends of AJ where we can do memorial trees, and all of that would go through that organization. But one of the big ones, and I just wanted to kind of be able to show you one of the other things that we submitted. So when we built Blossom Rock, or when we built Painted Sky Park in Blossom Rock, they do have to submit a salvage plan. So there's a ton of desert vegetation. And I know we've shared this many times, but showing them the process that we went through to salvage trees in the desert area. They had a tree nursery. We sent to them a brief example and description from both the contractor and the architect on the steps that we took to salvage trees in the area. And so then we submit all of those plans as part of this application process. One of the things that we mentioned, so many, many more than 300 trees were salvaged on the site. They were used throughout the rest of the community. but 314 were actually boxed and cared for and then planted in our park spaces, the linear parks as well as Painted Sky Park. So that was a major one. We also, Dave got our membership into the Alliance for Community Trees. We shared some of the partner organizations like community, so AJCDC that we partner with for Make a Difference Day and all the work that they do. So that got us some points. And then our last one that I'll just show you a little bit again. Most of you all have been out at Painted Sky Park, but one of the features in our linear park is the outdoor classroom. And so that's actually an item that's in the Arbor Day Foundation. So there will be a school site over here eventually, but this is a huge outdoor classroom. It has a lot of little seating amphitheater here and then a big grassy space there, but having spaces where people can learn in the outdoors. So we've already had, we will have read and recs and some other activities out there, but it'll be a great space for us as we move forward. So we're very excited. Jared and Elliot and I think Shauna, others will be going to the state capitol this year for the Arbor Day ceremony and to be able to accept our growth award. So we'll bring that back and share with you. But I'm happy to answer any questions if you have them.
I have a question.
Sure.
So if it wasn't for Painted Sky Park, would we still have met all the criteria?
Yeah, so all we have to do is show, so there's a lot of other items that we could have chosen as our application award. So we planted a whole bunch of other trees. We've done a lot of different things in pretty much all of our projects. That one just happens to have been a really recent one. You know, you don't even have to plant 300 in some trees. It could be salvaging 3 trees on your property and putting them there. But I mean, ours is just really significant because we happen to have a big project. And then we've identified as a team many more criteria that we could use for future years. And now that we kind of know what we're doing, we will start those early on so that way we always have enough new things. I think I shared at one of the last meetings the whole list of everything that you could submit for. I mean, there's something like 50 criterias, and you could pick and choose the things that show what you're doing. This year with our SRP, Right Tree, Right Place program, we're going to be able to use that as our submittal next year. So working with utility lines to that program, I think we shared was to we removed 30 trees on city property that were in jeopardy of interfering with utility lines, and they replaced them with 90 trees. So 30 in the places where we moved them to utility line friendly trees, and then another 60 that we were able to use out in other parks. So City Hall campus, the library, we'll have some out at Silly Mountain. We'll be using some in the median project. So a lot of really great, and they're like 24 gallon, is that the right word? 24 inch, 24 gallon trees. So significantly sized trees, 3 of those for every 1 tree that we removed that was in jeopardy of interfering with a power line. So.
Liz, were there, did you say benches were involved also with?
Benches?
Yeah, benches
For
underneath some of the trees or under, was there anything that?
No, that's not part of this project at all, no.
Okay.
We have had a couple of donations of benches, but no, it's not related to any of this. Anything else?
I would like to see, I recall when we went over the list of items that gained us points, I would love to see our trees being used, like mulched and either used, you know, in the landscape or offered to residents.
So in our budget, so we'll find out whether or not we get it or not, but Dave and the Parks team have put a wood chipper into our budget. So we will have the ability to use that in different capacities. I doubt we will offer it to the public just because there are safety and other things that have to be concerned with that, but we can certainly look into it. We actually have a lot of uses for it. So a lot of people are using it as a mulch over invasive plants. So in some of our open spaces, we have once we get it, or if we get it, then we can certainly start talking about how we'll be utilizing it. But done.
Yeah.
That'll be checked off the list if we get a wood chipper.
Yeah, great. There's a lot of benefits to using mulch, so
Yep.
that'd be great to see.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, moving on to new business. Presentation and update on construction and future operations of the Prospector Park pickleball expansion. We got Dave and Riley.
Thanks. Give me one quick minute,
Hold, please.
please.
Speak among yourselves.
I'm usually much better about getting these up and running before we get started. Luckily, I did move it over. Parks and Rec Commission.
Just as a reminder for the size of pickleball, on a tennis court, is that 2 pickleball courts? Oh, it's 4. Okay.
Okay, so Prospector Pickleball expansion. So just as a reminder to everybody, council approved in the 24-25 budget the design of the Prospector Pickleball court expansion. It will be funded through our development fee, which can only be spent on previously identified park projects. Last fall, we selected Dig Studio to do the design work for us. And we are really close to wrapping that up now. And then we had a meeting with our local pickleball group and users out there early on in that design process to get input and feedback from them on what they see at other facilities or what we could incorporate into ours to make it even better than we thought it could. So that brings us to the layout here. So that pinkish site you see is the location that we've identified for the court expansion. Part of it is limited by what we're calling a minor wash. It's not identified as a high flow, but it is a wash that carries water through the park. So part of the design had to incorporate how can we work around that wash and still get 16 courts in there. It will also include connectivity to the existing courts, so ADA walkway and path to connect to make it feel like it's one big pickleball tennis complex instead of an afterthought that was thought of later. If you remember, this is the overhead design, 16 courts. One of those courts is set aside as what we're calling our championship ADA accessible court. It's a little bit bigger to accommodate ADA access. We're including additional ramada and shade throughout, fencing, and then connecting those ADA sidewalks to the existing courts. It is all spec'd as dark sky friendly lighting that will connect and sync to our existing Musco controller, so it will be one control system for all of the sports lighting out there. And again, that space does accommodate the wash to continue to have the flow that we need through the park. This is just another shot from a different angle, so you can see the ramada on the north side will be an actual metal roof, similar to what we have out there, just updated design. And then these other shade are more of what you see at our playgrounds, where it's a shade net design, not a hard metal top. Again, just another shot looking west to east, and you can see how close it conceptually will get to our existing court. So again, we wanted it to feel like it was one big complex and not just kind of plopped on there afterwards. Just a concept image of the fencing, the ramada, some amenities that we'll add in there. All of the courts will be lighted, which is a great idea just because, you know, in the summertime it's insanely hot until it's dark out. So we wanted to make sure that we had lighting out at the courts as well. And this is where I'm going to turn it over to Riley. Oh, no, I'm sorry, wrong one. We're hoping to have construction drawings done this month. We did hit a little bit of a bump where we are working on a update to the drainage report, but we're still hoping that by the end of this month we'll have full construction documents done and ready to go. Once we get those, we will go to procuring a contractor, and hopefully we can have that done and begin construction May of this year. And again, that is all depending on the funding and the development fee account and how much they actually come back at for total construction cost. Again, I caution you that it's construction and we just don't know what, we can estimate it all day, but until we go out for actual bid, we just don't know what that final cost will be.
Do you see us building this all at once or in phases?
All at once. All at once.
All
We-
the shade, the whole schmear.
We did design the shade canopies to be an ad alternate if we absolutely had to, we had them as an option. But we are going to go to bid as a one-time, one-phase package.
Okay, thank you.
The number 16 of courts, is that because of like tournaments or something?
It's as many as we could fit in the area for about the amount of money that we thought we would have in the development fund account. So it wasn't based on tournaments. It was just based on how many we could get in there, still accommodate the wash, maintain ADA access, all of those things that went into how we came up with the number 16.
And Dave, are there water fountains out in that area, or?
I have to go back and look. I don't believe we actually brought water because the domestic line is in the restroom in phase 3. I have to go back and look at the drawing to see if we found out a way to bring that water line through the wash or not. I don't believe that we did, but I can double check on that.
Can you show an aerial again so we can see the proximity of restrooms to the
I don't.
approximately?
Ballpark just to the left of the racquetball course there. So
Got it, yep.
500-600 feet, give or take.
And then remember that the softball complex restrooms are probably about the same distance. So if you were to go up this path, they're approximately as far as these restrooms right here. So there's two pretty good nearby areas that they can walk to.
And there's water fountains there near the restroom.
Both areas have water fountains, and you know what our experience is that a lot of people, they bring their water. Most people don't drink from the drinking fountain. They bring water bottles, they bring ice, and some of those things. But there's definitely the capability of people being able to get to both of those in two different directions.
Okay. Any other questions about design or construction? Now, this is where I'm really going to turn it over to Riley to talk about rules and operating the courts.
So sorry, Jamie, I'm gonna get close to you. As we are designing these courts, we want to have our rules and operations set before they're ready to go. So we have been looking at other cities that have courts like ours. So I've looked at Queen Creek and Gilbert's. Both of them are very similar rules that they have. Let me find my sheet. So they do it where some of them are reservable. So they about 4 of theirs at Queen Creek are reservable, and the other ones are just open for first come, first serve use. They do it to where if the courts aren't full and people aren't waiting, you can play as long as you want. Once we have a wait, they do a paddle system. So it's where both Queen Creek and Gilbert use a paddle system. So the next 4 people put their paddles in a spot, and then the next 4 people put the next paddles in a spot, and then they rotate. So you play your game. When you're done with your game, you 4 come off the court, and the next 4 come on. When the courts aren't busy, you play for as long as you want, and then they do have that option to have reservable courts. Each of them do have an ADA court, and that one is ADA takes priority. So if we have an individual who needs to use that court, it takes priority over anybody else that's on it, unless it is reserved for one of our programs. So both Queen Creek and Gilbert do that. What else was there? They do first to 11 points at both Queen Creek and Gilbert. After they complete their games, they do not do like a king of the court, as I want to call it. So if you win, you don't stay on. If it is not busy, they allow that to happen. At Gilbert, there are a few courts that the rules are king of the court. So they kind of split it up where half of them are to 11, you move, and then they have some that you can do king of the court on. So as we're looking at them, we want to
research other cities, obviously, to make sure that we are considering all formats that we can do out there. And then we want to make sure that all levels feel welcome out there. So we have tossed around the idea of maybe having a couple courts that are for beginners only when it's super busy, so that they also get the chance to play and play with people their level. And then we currently, you can reserve our 4 courts that we have out at Prospector. We do want to keep that. So those, yep. So these 4 courts, you can reserve them for a fee. That means you get priority. If you pay for it, they're yours, and everybody else has to wait for your reservation to be over, or use the portable nets on the tennis courts. And so we would like to keep probably those 4, and then maybe the 3 section, the little reservable, and then leave the other ones for open play. Obviously, with all of our facilities, parks and recreation programs have priority, so we will do leagues, tournaments, all of that, and we'll have priority over those courts to be able to program how we see fit. For pricing, you can rent our courts if you're a resident or a nonprofit for a whopping $5 an hour. Non-residents are $6.25, and then for-profit would be $7.50. Unfortunately, Prospector is on a BLM lease, so it does not allow for-profit businesses to rent the courts. So the only for-profit courts we have are the tennis courts at SSP that are rentable, but we do have the resident and non-resident rate to rent out the courts. So those are kind of the guidelines we're thinking about. If you guys have questions, we are going to meet with our pickleball players out there. We're going to invite them to come meet with us so we can learn what they would like to see happen, get their feedback, because we don't want to make decisions, as none of us are avid pickleball players. We've played here or there. We don't want to make rules that don't make sense.
Not yet.
One thing that you might consider, and I don't know if you could use color codes, but when I was running the program at Mountain View, there's a large group of people who like to play for fun.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's a light group of people who like to play for blood.
Yeah.
And you don't really want to mix those a whole lot. So if there's any way, just something to consider, color coding the courts for competitive versus non-competitive, something along that line to give the people some choice of who they play with. Because it's no fun either way. The competitive people don't like to play with non-competitive. To them, it's a waste of their time. And the non-competitive don't like to get their brains beat out.
Yeah, and that's one of the things we listed there in the levels of play. So as we've talked to our pickleball groups, they're definitely very much understanding of that too, that, again, like you said, the ones that are really competitive, they want to have a competitive, fun game. They want to get that experience.
Sure.
Other people that are new and, they get intimidated easily by that, and they might not want to join. And so that's definitely one of the things, one of the nice things about DIG when they did this design. So as you can see, it's already naturally split up into some sections. And so every single one of these has a small fence area because they don't want to chase their ball too far. So we'll easily be able to mark which courts are, a beginners only section, or, and the rest is a different type of thing. And that's what that meeting will be for. We currently have 60 to 70 players every day out there playing right now. Sometimes they have 40 people waiting to get on to those 4. They turn 1 tennis court into 2 pickleball courts into 6 courts. And so they know how they play and how it's going. We will have so many more, so we'll want to make sure that we're respectful of how that group wants to continue to play. But we have so many that we'll be able to have a lot of options like that. So thank you for that. And anything else, I know you operated all that at the church, the indoor facility,
The only thing is that they really like my playlist.
Oh, good. Good to know.
But some of the non-competitive people are really good players. They just don't like to be
Yep.
that competitive.
Right,
So I think it's good to look at. Thank you.
perfect.
No, you're competitive.
Is the lighting going to be all or nothing? Like, so if it's on, it's on?
I don't want to answer definitively because I have to go back and look at the cut sheet and look at how we drew the one lines for the lighting. I believe with it being on the Musco, we can control individual courts. It just depends on how much draw each of those courts takes and how that engineering one line looks. I feel confident saying if it's not just per court, it would be, the bottom section, the middle section, like we can control sections instead of individual courts.
Any other questions?
Did you have a question? Okay. What parks did you look at in Gilbert and Queen Creek? for
So
roles?
Gilbert Regional Park
Okay.
and then Frontier Family Park. So
Okay.
Queen Creek just opened Frontier Family Park.
Yes.
So they are gracious enough to give me all their information. We are have a tight relationship with them, and then Gilbert Regional also has
Yes.
a plethora of pickleball courts
Yes.
that they just maybe 2-3 years ago just opened.
Yeah.
And that's really just for operations. So as we looked at doing pickleball courts, we've looked at many, and then Dig Studio, they have built, I can't even say
Pretty sure
dozens in the last 2 years, all throughout the state of Arizona. And so they came with a plan, and the pickleball players had not one single negative or thing to say. They thought of every single thing that they had on their mind. So these really are a great design team that we got to work with.
And
This time.
Dig was part of Gilbert Regional's pickleball. They're currently doing Heroes Park in Glendale with pickleball, so they have a ton of pickleball experience and knowledge they brought to the table with this one too, so.
So one more question. Do we have existing rules out at our existing pickleball?
No, it's a free, I don't want to say free for all,
Wild, Wild
obviously.
West out there, okay.
I don't want to say it's Wild West. We
So
do.
they do have a style of play. So we've
Yeah.
talked with them. Over time, it definitely has been a little bit challenging at times because there might be somebody who's already on the court. Because there's so many of them, it can get a little intimidating from time. But we've worked with those groups over the years. We've had really good success this last year. But it is challenging because there's so much demand for the courts. And so we've really struggled with, should we reserve them? Should we not reserve them? If somebody really doesn't want to play with that group, they can reserve them. And the group themselves have really tried hard to police themselves and to make it inviting for folks. But this is the whole reason why this was a huge need. So they play a little bit like what we've described, where it's first come, first serve until there's a waiting, groups are waiting. And then they basically just stand next to the court that they're ready for. We don't have paddle holders, right? I know we talked about, do we have them now? They made
There's one.
they made
Yep,
some for
they
one
made
of the
one out there.
sets. So they'll do that whenever the courts get filled up, and they do get filled most all winter long, so.
Okay. So then citizens will be kind of having to get used to seeing a rule board.
Yeah, and a lot of our pickleball players, they play at other centers, so they know.
And they shared these with us.
Yeah.
So we got some of the ideas from our pickleball group that we enlisted really early on in this whole process.
Okay. And then you guys will once you speak with them and kind of survey them, you'll bring that back to us. And
Yep.
Cool.
All right, fantastic. Thank you, Riley. Thank you, Dave. So we're going to do call to the public. Oh, I just have to read the list. Arizona open meeting laws allows individuals to address commission on any issues within the jurisdiction of the commission. Commission may not answer your questions or discuss your comments at this time. However, at the conclusion of the call to public, commission may do any of the following. 1, respond to criticism made by any individual who addresses the commission. 2, ask staff to review a matter. 3, ask staff to place the matter on a future agenda. Commission shall not discuss or take legal action on matters raised to the public to the call of public unless the matters have been properly noticed for discussion and legal action. Please stand, approach the podium, microphone, and state your name and address after being called to speak. There is a 3-minute time limit per speaker.
And I came early to register, and the door was locked, and Councilman Cross gave me a nice tour of all the facilities. So let me open with my name's Jim Bannon from Gold Canyon in Santan Valley, and I love saying ladies and ladies and ladies and ladies, because when I address the Pinell County supervisors, I can't say ladies and gentlemen. I had 2 daughters, a wife, a female dog, and I do know who the superior sex is and how to say yes, ma'am. The last time I stood in the front of this microphone, I had a prisoner outfit on, right down to the orange socks and shoes, and I asked my board, should I wear the same thing tonight? And they said, no, be a nice guy. So I'm here to be a nice guy. I run 6 world-class companies, and I tell my board, have I told you today that I love you? So today I love you. We don't know about tomorrow, but today I love you. I listened to your program, and I very definitely want to do 2 things. One is to teach Jamie how to spell her name. Number 2, to get involved with marathons. I don't ever brag, but my daughter Jamie, 48 years old, lives 15 doors down from the Coors Brewery, came here into the valley, and in Gilbert, they have this little race with like 5,000 people. She came in 3rd. The girl who won is a Nike professional and an 8-time Olympian in her 20s. Go, Jamie. So, the reason I was in the prison outfit, and it's up on YouTube, you can watch it, I love this city. However, I've worked very hard to get people to listen. That's been a challenge. So I'm here once again, and everything I would do with the city would be, watch my lips, pro bono. So you're looking for corporate sponsors. I can't give you an immediate approval, but I can probably get you unlimited funding. I'll say it again, unlimited funding. This is going to save America. It is the most powerful communication tool known to mankind. And in full transparency, I'm on 3 committees of country1st.com. We are the only nonpartisan candidate training program in America. And you can look it up. And thank you for giving me 3 minutes.
Thank you. All right, that's all for the call in order. Thank you. Call for future agenda items. Commissioners, is there anything that you have any suggestions or recommendations being added to the next agenda? Anything we want to touch base with, get a follow-up on?
Yeah, I've got, maybe Jamie could bring us some information on what she's plotting for use of the lakes at our new park.
Happy to do so.
All right. Okay, so we're going to do the selection of meeting dates, times, location, and purpose. May I have a motion?
Madam Chair, I move that the Parks and Recreation Commission hold a regular meeting on April 2nd, 2025 at 6 p.m. in the City Council chambers located at 300 East Superstition Boulevard.
May I have a second?
I second.
May I have roll call, please?
Judy Bory,
Yes.
Frank Shanebeck,
Yes.
Dee Alkine,
Yes.
Cheryl Bigelow,
Yes.
Felicia Madrid,
Yes.
Heather Moeller.
Yes.
Okay, and that motion passes.
Awesome. All right, then. At 7:04 p.m., I'll go ahead and adjourn this meeting. Thank you so much.